Hey, Teddy K here for the Best Buy blog, and in this video review we take a look at the Bose Sport Open Earbuds, true wireless headphones that have a unique look and fit and listening experience to match. Despite their name, the Bose Sport Open Earbuds are not earbuds in the traditional or truest sense. There isn't anything kind of burrowing into your ear canal or into your inner ear. Instead, they rest like ear loops, and they stay away from the ear but push music using what Bose calls open audio technology. It's not bone conduction, so this isn't the type of headphones where they would press up against the jawbone and sort of push the music through the bones and so that you can hear them that way as opposed to hearing them through the ear. That's not what's going on here. So they're not bone conduction. They're just basically hovering near the ear and then angled or just pushing the music through the air inside the ear. So it's a pretty simple concept, but the question is does it work? So there's a couple things going on here that I think are very important to note when it comes to whether they are going to be useful or not. So first things first is the fit, because you don't have any real leeway here. How they're going to fit the first time is pretty much how they're going to fit every time. The reason for that is because the design is rigid. So Bose didn't make these flexible. These aren't like the ear loops that you find in other earbuds that are rubberized or flexible or have some level of adjustment to them. There's none of that. There's no give to this at all. You can't adjust it, you can't angle it, you can't bend it, none of that. So however it's going to fit, however they land sort of over your ear, that's it. Those are really your only options. So that plays a big factor in comfort, obviously, and to some degree also in music playback, although not as much as you would think, because again, this has nothing to do with how well they're going to fit in your ear. It just has to do with where they land, basically, over your ear. And you don't really have much of an option in customization either. There is nothing on the Bose Music app that you can really customize here. There's no equalizer, so however they sound, you can't really do anything about that. And there aren't too many options. So yes, there are buttons on either side that do different things. So on the left, you press once, you can hear the battery level. If you hold down, then you'll get your voice assistant. On the right are all the playback controls: play, pause, skip a track, repeat a track, answer a call, reject a call, those things. So everything's laid out, and the app lays that out to you. It also even talks about fit and comfort as well. But again, it all depends on how it feels once you put it on. For me personally, the fatter part, the thicker part at the bottom of the loop was the part that caused me the most problems. This is after a while of wearing them, so it wasn't right away. But the more I wore them, let's say over a 2-hour period, I'm just around the house here, I'm just, doing chores and working, whatever, it would start to feel a little bit cumbersome, because also there's a little bit of weight to these. These are not super lightweight. They're light, but they're not as lightweight as some other earbuds are. And that's where perhaps you might feel more of the pressure where the loop actually makes contact with the top of the ear. It's so subjective that I can't even predict what you might or might not experience. But either way, I think the fit is going to be just as much of a factor here as any kind of audio quality that you discern from it. So what can you expect in the audio quality? Well, better than you think, actually, because they definitely sound better than bone conduction headphones. That's for sure. I also like them more than the Bose frames. I reviewed those and I felt like the audio was there was just too much of a distance from my ear to the speakers, whereas here I felt like they were closer and it just sounded like they were. So the audio quality actually was clearer and crisper than I would have expected, but there's one major sacrifice, and that's bass. You're not going to get as much on the low end as you'd like. So if you're into really bass heavy genres, hip hop, EDM, R&B, things like that, music that really kind of resonates or really needs that bass response, you're not going to get as much of that here. So I wouldn't necessarily look to these if that's what you want, especially if you're going to be active. So if you're going out running, you're doing workout, something, and you want something that's a little bit less, you don't want anything in your ears because you want to hear the background or the ambient noise, but at the same time, you want that bass too. This is not really going to do that. There's no noise cancellation here or ambient mode. The ambient mode is essentially just the design. It's by design. Because it's an open concept, you're going to hear the background anyway. So if you are outside and you're doing a run, a walk, bike ride, whatever it is, you are going to hear the background anyway. There is no noise cancellation, so that plays a factor when it comes to phone calls. I wasn't super impressed with this on phone calls. It was fine, but it was fine when you were in quieter environments. The moment you were outside or you were in a noisier place, I just found callers just didn't like the way I sounded, because it was like fighting with some of the background noise. Bose says they've addressed this with microphones that are a little bit more beamforming and directional, but I think a firmware update is going to have to fix that, because I just didn't experience that same thing here. Now, another element here is the case. This is not a charging case, it's a carrying case. Bose claims that there are 8 hours of battery life per charge here. I think you're looking at more like 6 and change, especially if you're going to raise the volume regularly, because the 8 hours is based on 50% volume, which you might be okay with indoors, but probably not. But when you're ready to charge, I mean, you got to use this. Like, you have to use an actual charger. This is a proprietary charger. Yes, it's USB on the other side, but it is a proprietary charger. They use magnets, so they easily fall into place, and it's fine. But the problem is that this is not the charger. So this is just a carrying case. It's a nice case. It's fairly large, but it's a decent case. Just that it would have been nice if this is where they charge. But for whatever reason, Bose opted to just go with 2 separate products here. So you have 2 separate items, 1 more item that you might have to worry about losing. So a quick recap, I think if you're going to go with these, you have to be okay with what you're sacrificing on the audio side and taking a chance on the fit and comfort side. Until you wear these, I can't make a determination as to whether they're going to be comfortable for you or not. For me, they tended to be an issue more so if I was wearing them over a bit of a longer period. There weren't the kind of earbuds that I could wear for hours and hours and not really even notice. In this case, I would notice after a while. So that may be your experience, or it may not be. It's very hard to say. But either way, the rugged, as far as how rugged they are, it's an IPX4 rating. That's okay as far as sweat and water resistance, but certainly not what I would call super ruggedized. So if you are going to use them and break a sweat in them, make sure that you wipe them clean after, so that none of that perspiration ruins anything inside. And I think that about covers it for the Bose Sport Open Earbuds. For the Best Buy blog, I'm Teddy K. Thanks for watching.